Did you know that Banban likes pancreas and it looks like children's pancreas? I took this taste preference from the ground floor wall of Banban's garden. But there are other gastronomic details in the game as well. The creations of Dr. Usman do not need to eat, as it was written in the studies of scientists. Therefore, this is a comic video on the topic of food preferences and should not be taken seriously. Well, except for Banban, in general it's strange. Let's go. Jumbo Josh loves vegetables according to a sticker on the wall in the dining area and claims that if you eat them, you will be strong like him. Well, in fact, its size and strength are a consequence of the galvanium flowing in the veins of all the monsters of the garden. Well, for fun, Jumbo's teeth apparently will instantly turn any vegetables into smoothies. And not only vegetables. What does the Banban like? Maybe also pancreas. Well, after all, they are very similar to the Banban and both are created from the human genome. But when going through the school of Banbalina, so to speak, you can hear curious things about food from people. You will learn how to safely remove the human brain for eating. Then she gets better, apparently mixed up the lessons. So we can assume that Banbalina eats brains. And stupid brains are probably not tasty. So you need to work with them first. Wow, how many brains do you need to no longer piss off the Banbalina? But in general, the subscribers and I collectively decided that she also indulges in a little white one. Well, what is a humorous roller? What eats the most terrible monster of the kindergarten? The spider Nab. Even Waverly will admit that she is afraid of him, and would not show the children. With such a huge tongue, it's even scary to imagine how much food he needs, judging by the fact that it pounces on the player from the ceiling and throws its huge mouth. The Nab spider is not whimsical in food, and simply eats the victim whole. And if no jokes, are we joking about food today? No jokes in the kindergarten, more tin than entertainment. And the garden is just the tip of the iceberg. One gigantic underground lab worked to create monsters and teach them how to imitate eating and drinking. And the best of them had to go upstairs and interact with young children. When passing through the medical center, communication center, and test sector, the protagonist comes across a lot of interesting notes and instructions. For example, instructions on how to survive if you encounter a snail. Not bad, right? In this center, creatures were tested for mathematical abilities, physical and ability to contact and interact with adults and children, as well as the ability to drink and eat by itself. But scientists think that the monsters do not want to eat. And as we know from past videos, they were wrong in their judgments more than once. At any moment, a toothy spider, an aggressive bird, or a huge polite but deadly not neat snail could crawl out. Anytime. Right on the job. And eat you. Or you are walking along the corridor following all the safety instructions, bypassing all kinds of testing rooms, when you suddenly see a huge snail eating your colleague. You know what, this is a very strange snail. Since it does not leave mucus behind, it may not work like a real representative of snails. But with such huge teeth, she's not only able to gnaw a salad there, I think like Nab, she just eats everything as a whole. Otherwise her diet could well include some small trees, sheds, some garden monsters, bobscam, everything will be in her teeth. Little chicks must love the same as their mother. Mother Opila, when we first see her, sits with her beak open and waits for us to feed her with eggs. Yes, a bird that eats eggs is very strange. The chicks would have liked little quail testicles. And these are, so to speak, children's creatures of the kindergarten, and in addition to chicks, there are very interesting Captain Fidels, what a violin, Captain Violin or something. So what do you think such unusual creatures could eat? I know what some of you thought, bananas. Of course, it's quite for itself. Because Fidels were made based on the genome of monkeys, and in order to jump high and far, they also need protein. I think Fidels captains also eat meat. Of all the creatures of the Banban garden, they were the most peaceful, but they were afraid of the noise and destroyed everything. Well, who could love fish? You will say Stinger Flynn, but it's not. After all, a Stinger Flynn is a jellyfish, and jellyfish cannot consume such large prey. Although, who knows how many teeth a Stinger Flynn actually has? Alas, there is little information about him to even approximately say what he will like. However, if he really does not touch children, then perhaps they are not at all interesting to him as food. And we still have one more interesting monster. This is Sheriff Toad. Unfortunately, we did not meet him in the second part. Many people wonder why he smiles so much after all. You know, in today's world, I don't trust smiles at all. And the smiling sheriff is generally strange, although maybe it will be possible to cooperate with him and have a cup of coffee and eat donuts. What else can law enforcement officers love? And wait, we almost forgot about Solpheus. Well, or part of him, maybe he has a lot of heads. In general, he lives at the very bottom, and judging by Miss Mason's notes, sleeps all the time until you go down to him. And then everyone will have problems. And as we know, some of the surviving employees went to the lower floors, and apparently from that moment their status as survivors changed to dinner for Solpheus. Yes, anything can happen, although this thing in the game does not touch us either full or still sleepy. But such a Hulk, according to the logic of things, can eat the rest of the monsters of the garden, and perhaps that is why it is so big. And like that's all. Well, what do the inhabitants of the Banban Garden eat according to your version? Come on, I'm waiting for an answer in the comments. This is Bombactus World. Until new videos.